Hello guys, welcome back. In today's video we are talking about insecure React Native object reference, and this under the securing React Native apps video series, right? So before we start diving into concepts, let's see a real demo, right? So let me run the server, and basically we are gonna see how this bot server is working, right? I wrote something here in the terminal in the console so you can utilize this command so you can test this. But basically, let me explain what we are doing here. Basically, this is a normal server with Node, TypeScript, Express, right? So as you can see here, we have a fake DV. It's a data in memory, basically, and we have, you know, a profile, user ID, full name, email, secret nodes, and basically each profile has its own user ID, right? As you can see over here, we have user 1, user 2, and all of them has information there, right? So, and then here we have something called middleware, right? And middleware is basically a function that you will add in front of your endpoints, right? So basically, when you make a request to this endpoint, it will go through this, and this will be execute some code, right? I'll explain what this code is doing. Basically, we have a TypeScript type here, and basically is using the request that comes from Express, right? And then here it's also appending the user ID as well, right? In this request, and we are using that over here, right? So what this middleware is doing, so basically what it's doing is extracting from the header the authorization, right? And what this statement is doing is basically if the header does not start with this keyword, then we're gonna send this JSON to the front end, right? With a status code of 401, and we're gonna say missing authorization and this message, right? Otherwise, if we have the header, we are gonna extract the user ID, right? And basically the user ID will be one of these two, right? User U1 or U2 will be included here. And basically in real life, you will have a JSON web token over here, right? We are just doing something simple because this is just an example of how insecure direct object reference works, or insecure. That's a security problem that we need to fix, right? This is the bad code, right? But basically a JSON web token will look like something like this. Let me see if I can copy this. Yeah. And in this JSON web token, what you will do here is encode some data, right? But we are not talking about that in this video. It's just to show you how a JSON web token would look like. And basically, now that we have now that we know that there is a header, we're going to extract the user ID, and we are going to have this statement to make sure we have that user ID over here, right? If that user ID does not exist, we're going to send something to the we're going to send this message to the front end, right? Otherwise, if the user exists, we are going to create this object, right? Object reference, basically, where we're going to create a user, and then we are going to make it equal to ID and the user ID, right? So when we make a request to this endpoint, basically we are going to get any data because we are not using the authorization or authentication properly, right? And let's basically hit this endpoint and see what we get, right? As I mentioned previously, I wrote this command so you can utilize it to test it, right? In my case, I will use the terminal, and I will copy that command and see what we get, right? And what we need to fix. And before we fix it, we are gonna get through some of the concept, right? So let me get that command. As you can see over here, I am including the authorization, which is var u1, right? Which is over here, right? This is this part, right? So it will go through this code, and it will give us all the information. As you can see, it's giving us all the information, which is bad, right? Because I'm logged in. Let's imagine I'm logging as user 1, but I'm requesting user 2 information, and it is giving me that information. And of course, it will work if I change it to user 1, right? It will give me information, any information. If you have any user, if you know any valid user ID, you can request it, that information, even though you are logging as user 1. You see here, I'm logged in as user 1, but I'm still able to get user 2 information, right? So we're going to fix that, but before doing that, we are going to talk about a little bit of some of that concept over here. So we already saw that example. It's really bad code there that we need to fix. So let's start by defining what is insecure direct object reference. And insecure object reference happens when an app lets you access data just because you know an ID, as we just saw in the demo, right? So you are logged in, but the server never checks if you are allowed to access that specific object, right? As you can see here in the code, we have the middleware and we are checking everything over here. This is fine, but we are not checking here if the information belongs to the specific user that is logged in, right? So this one is one of the most common API bugs that you can see in mobile or web apps, right? It's in both. So now, why insecure direct object reference is dangerous? As you can see, it works on any real user account, right? Does not require advanced hacking tools or techniques. If someone can make an API request, they can exploit an insecure direct object reference, right? And as you see, it's very easy to exploit. In the request, you just add the user ID. Of course, the user ID has to be valid, right? The UI does not matter. Attackers can can talk directly to your backend, right? So what is the core problem? Authentication is not the same as authorization, right? Authentication basically is who you are, right? As you can see over here, right? It's determining who you are over here. If we extracted the user ID from the authorization header and we check who you are, right? Do you exist in our database? If you don't exist, we are gonna send to the front end invalid token, right? Because you are not part of our data, right? And the authorization, basically, can you access? Do you have access, right? So it's basically over here, right? If everything goes okay, then you are a valid user, and we create this object, right, that we can use later on. Of course, over here we are not using it, right? But we are gonna fix that. So basically, most app authenticate correctly, JSON Web Token, sessions token, but insecure direct object reference happens when we forget authorization at the object level, right? Over here. So just because I'm logged in, it doesn't mean I can access any record, right? As we can see in the example, right? Anyone who is logged in over here can request any information, even from the user too, right? We're gonna fix that in a little bit. So what is the typical insecure direct object reference parent, right? Basically, as you can see, we have this endpoint over here too. We have it, right? And it is okay, but you need to secure this. I'll show you how to secure that in a little bit in the next demo. And also, this is the classic mistake that you will see. The backend takes an ID from the URL, fetches it from the database, and return it without checking ownership. If you change the ID, you can get someone else's data, right? And that's the problem, right? That we're gonna fix in a little bit. And now, how to fix it? Simply, we have like 3 steps. Well, there can be more, but this is like the golden rule, let's say. So basically you have to verify, verify the ownership on the server side. This fix is simple but it's strict, right? Never trust IDs from the client. Always derive the user from tokens or verify ownership on the server. Now let's see how we can fix that, right? To make it simple, we're gonna create another file and we are gonna name it, let's name it server.fix.tx, right? And we are gonna copy this. So you can, I'm gonna put this in my repo. So the link will be in the description. But basically over here, we are going to copy this code, and then we are going to do some fixing here. But before doing that, we need to add something over here, right? So the first thing that we need to do here, so you have to, when you run this command, it will be the bad server, right? But when you run this command, it will be the fixed server, right? So I'm gonna put a fixed, and I'm gonna use this. Let me see if I can use this. And I'm gonna use this. Let me add a comma there. And then what's wrong here? And then let me add this. Yep, we need that. Yes, just like this, basically. It's here, okay. Let me see. Yeah, it's running, right? So let me start doing some coding here now. So let me close this, and now we'll see how to fix it, right? The first one, we're gonna fix this, basically. Let me remove this because it's the good one, right? Let me remove this comment, and basically there's two options that you can fix. Yeah, let me add that there. Will be this one, right? We can still use we can still request the user ID in the URL, but we need to do a few things here, right? Another variable here, and this will be my ID, right? And we're gonna request the ID. Remember, we saved that over here from the over here in this object. Basically, we create a user and the ID, right? So that will be my ID, not my. And then we need to check, right? We need to check over here. If user ID it's not equal to my ID, we are gonna send this message to our front end, right? Otherwise, we are going to send that information to our front end, right? Which is basically that. We don't need this. Oops, let me Control C. We don't need this because we already doing this, right? Oh, yeah, we can still use this because we are checking, right, if the profile does not exist. I mean, if it is, yeah, we can leave it like this, and we will see the information, right? And let me copy this so you can use that code as well. Just give me one moment. Over here, we are gonna copy this. Okay. So now that should be good to go, right? This is one way to fix it, right? Let's test this out and see how that will work, right? So now I did run him, and you can run this, right? As you can see over here, you're requesting. It should give you 403 or whatever. Let me see. As you can see, forbidden, cannot access other profile, right? So, and we are sending this over here. But if we access to the profile one, we should be able to get the profile one, right? Because you are logged in as user one, right? And user one should be able to access anything that belongs to them, right? As you can see, this is working, right? If I change it to 2, I cannot access because I'm logged in as user 1 over here. So that's one fix, but there's another one too that you can utilize it, right? So let's do the other one. So we have that already. We are requesting the user ID from the params or from the URL. And then the other fix could be like the same thing, right? App get, and then we have the endpoint, which will be the same profiles, and then we're gonna add to me, right? Or we can add me here, profiles, right? And then the same thing, right? We will have the auth, and we will have the request and response, right? And then in here we are gonna do the same thing, right? And this is gonna be a little bit more short. We're gonna have my ID, and then if everything goes okay, we're gonna check the profile. If the profile does not exist, we are gonna say no found, and then we're gonna send data to basically to the front end, right? That's another way to fix this error, because we are not passing or requesting any ID from the URL, right? The ID will come in the authorization, right? That's one way to do it. And now let's test it and see if it is working properly, right? So let me see. Let me clean this and let me copy that. As you can see here, we are not sending the ID over here. The ID will be taken from the JSON web token, right? So let's test it out and see if that works. As you can see, yep, it is working, right? And if you add user 2, of course, yeah, but it's not working, right? Because we are not letting the user get or pass any IDs in the URL, right? So that's one way to fix all of this. And yeah, guys, this is basically the insecure direct object reference. I hope you learned something new. And this is a very simple example. And the link of the repo will be in the description. Make sure you check it out, and you have these two files. So please make sure you compare and contrast. And let me know if you have any question, or if you like to see more videos like this. Please let me know in the comments, or if you want to see more like cybersecurity content, let me know. I have some knowledge of it. And yeah, thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, share, and see you in the next time, guys. Thank you so much.